Hello again, everyone, and welcome to Bayou Time as we continue to remember Don Schwab, who passed away recently, and certainly he fought the good fight and fought until the end. But now it's time to remember a great man here for our area. I had the chance to sit down with Don on our first one-on-one, and let's just differentiate that from the other things that he did in his life. We'll have many other programs here on Facebook and YouTube, but let's run for your memory that one-on-one I had with Don Schwab. I want to find out the things on one-on-one that a lot of people don't know about Don Schwab. And to do that, we got to go back. Is it T-Shoe Pick? Is that how you say it?
T-Shoe Pick.
T-Shoe Pick. So I want you to take me back, all the way back to the earliest years you can remember. Was it in T-Shoe Pick?
Yes. Born and raised there. It's a little community off of Highway 308 between Thibodeau and Lambertville. Approximately 5 miles back off of 308, and that was probably the best part of my life. I mean, you know, my daddy was a truck farmer. We did everything, you know, shallots, watermelons, potatoes, corn, and we lived off the land, like the whole saying is, you know.
There's a lot of pride in that, and it was a very tight-knit community. What?
It was maybe at the most 12 families back there that lived there forever. The Ponvels, the Landers, the Mears, the Schwabs. I mean, it was just a conglomerate of a bunch of families that got along super well. And basically all of them were, you know, live off the land. The terminology is that they lived off the land. We did everything. I mean, you know, there to help us, you know, survive.
Right.
And that's when I went to LT,
right,
where your daddy went, and so everything worked out fine.
What was LT like?
Elementary school, when I was there, it was from 1st grade to 6th grade. And previously, it had gone to 8th grade, I think, maybe for a couple of years, it was even a high school. It was interesting to us because that's the only school we knew.
Don, I can't tell you how much this thrills me to coming to the same school. I know you attended this school.
It's amazing the condition of this place, Martin, to know that this thing was built probably in the 20s, and the construction of it is really good.
Well, let's start off maybe downstairs and take a little walk down memory lane. Now, Don, where are we now?
This is well, the lobby area. The bathrooms are in the same location. Of course, this was the boys, this was the girls, and toward this end of the building. When we used to attend here, this used to be the principal's office. And when I came to school here in the early 50s.
You gotta see this. I'm sitting in here in the men's bathroom with Don Schwab. He says the floors haven't changed. He said the layout's the same. The sink is even the same, huh, Don?
That's the same thing. Of course, a lot of the plumbing work has been changed, but basically, this is bathroom's been here since day one. It's unbelievable.
How many people did these stalls break in?
Oh, Lord, I'm telling you.
I tell you what, look, you know what I like? They made them out of real wood these days. These stalls are real wood. They didn't do anything cheap in those days.
I don't know if that's the same stalls, but I know this is the same bathroom.
Same bricks. Has to be the same
the bricks is the same, just been painted.
They really had some beautiful floors in those days, too. I'd like to know who picked out the interior. All right, let's move on.
Probably Eugene False.
The teacher opened the book and said, Don, you need to study more. That F just will not cut it. Give me your hand. She pulled out the wooden stick. Whack! How many times do you think that happened?
Oh, that happened a few times. Because you have to remember now, this was old wooden desks in those days. Now, these are modern things now, but we had old wooden desks and real kind of close to the floor.
Modern times, but no modern measures. In those days, to get a licking was pretty ordinary.
Oh, it was very ordinary.
Believe me, when we left there in the 6th grade to go to Thibodeau Elementary in the 7th grade, it was a tremendous shock to all of us. A lot of time you spent was barefoot. That's it. I didn't. Well, matter of fact, this is really funny. And my first day of school at Thibodeau Elementary on the bus, we were barefooted. We didn't wear shoes.
She did the dance without any shoes. She was barefooting out. Yeah.
there and we tease him that he looks like Fred Flintstone, okay? Now, I always thought Fred was a macho guy. Now, Lonnie got a call this week. Well, I think Regina, his wife, told him. Somebody came to get a haircut and told Regina that Lonnie looked like Barney Rubble. So Fred and Barney, I enjoy cooking with y'all. All right.
I mean, you know, and they told us when we got to Thibodeau Elementary that you guys can't, y'all got to wear shoes. So the first day we had about 6 or 7 of us that didn't have tennis shoes on. Then after that, we started wearing tennis shoes.
Is that sort of where you got your mentality that you've never been one to impress the rich or famous or higher echelon? You've always been sort of the common person kind of thing. Is that where you get that from?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. From my dad and my mother. Yeah. And my grandma and grandpa, really. Grandma and Grandpa Schwab was just, they lived near us, and he was there with us working like everybody else does. You know?
What were some of your chores that you had to do around the house?
Fed the chickens in the morning, fed the cows in the morning, woke up real early in the morning because the buses were coming like at 6:30, 7 o'clock.
Right.
And but that's basically it.
Is that why you still get up early today? I remember calling you at 6 o'clock the other day, and I said, you'd be the only person I'd try that early because I know you're going to be up with me.
I'm an early riser, Martin. I've always been my whole life. And you know, 5:30, 6 o'clock, I'm out of bed and, you know, getting after it. So that's where I was. It was, you know, raised like that. We had 3 brothers, you know, my Jerry and Huey and myself and my older sister Fernand. But we got along fine. We got along fine.
Now, where'd you fall in the pecking order?
This is Fernand, Jerry, Huey, and then my little sister Cindy. We knew what we had to do. He didn't have to tell us more than once that that's what we're gonna do, and we just did it, you know.
It was sort of the way of life, wasn't it?
That's the way of life. It was the way of life.
Yeah.
We used to miss a week of school every year during Charlotte season. You know, we'd miss 5 days, you know, and we'd work the Charlottes from sun up till sundown for 5 days.
And the teachers probably didn't give y'all any grief.
No, none at all. Because a lot of kids would do that, get off. I mean, the guys from Chack Bay, the guys from Bayou Buff, you know, and back at Shoepick and Chack Bay, all stayed home to help with their family. We didn't waste any time, Martin, I'm gonna tell you. It was from sun up till sundown. I mean, we had things to do and we did it and thought nothing of it. I mean, you know, it wasn't a punishment for any reason. It was just, that was a way of life.
You go to LT Elementary and then you're about to make your way to Big Thibodeau, right?
Right.
What was going through your mind? Did you already know you were a pretty good athlete at that point?
Yeah, the only thing we played at LT was basketball outside on a dirt court.
Don told me that this court was a dirt court. And of course, over the years, the basketball goals have changed quite a bit. Don also told me that there were no trees on this playground, but today we have trees growing. But one thing remains the same. We talked to the principal of the current school and we asked him if we could use a basketball just to show some shots here in the basketball goal, and this is what he handed us a short while ago. This may be the original basketball that Coach learned how to shoot with. As you can tell, I would guesstimate maybe 40 or 50 years on this ball.
And in marbles, you know, the marbles things was big back then, you know. We played basketball, we played fast pitch softball, and marbles. That was basically
You always wanted to make sure you didn't lose your marbles.
Yeah,
right?
I won the state championship one year in the marble things.
Really?
Matter of fact, it was right here in Houma. Well, first time I think I came to Houma with Coach Pap Dupre was our coach.
What was that culture shock like? And look, I've talked to you about this many times.
Sure.
You're coming from T. Shoepick and LT Elementary, and all of a sudden you get to the big high school. What was that like?
You talk about an adjustment. I mean, it was really different. Had great teachers, but man, they were strict. You know, we kind of played around a little bit at the LT Elementary. You know, they kind of were very flexible. You know, the teachers were. But once you got to Thibodeau Elementary, man, it was, you know, they cut it all out. It was very serious.
2 detentions. 3 detentions. Leave this room and don't come back until you're ready to apologize to me.
I didn't start playing football until the 8th grade.
Okay.
Yeah, and didn't even know anything about football. You know, we played what we called back then was wiffle ball. We'd get some old leather or anything and just wrap it up and tape it together and play that with a broomstick handle.
Wow.
That's what we played. So,
Who got you involved in football?
well, Jerry played at Thibodeau High, and of course Huey played. And I got really interested when I got in the 9th grade at Thibodeau Junior High, the new junior high that was built behind the previously old Thibodeau High School.
Okay.
And then I really got involved with it. And when Coach Tatum came, Dick Tatum, who's our head coach when I was a sophomore, Coach Zush coached us in the 9th grade, and Coach Dupre coaches in the 9th grade. And another thing about it, but besides Coach Zush, Coach Dupre used to travel up and down 308 and 311, bringing kids back home after practice.
Right.
That's the only reason I could play. And then when I got to be a sophomore, I did a little hitchhiking home, you know. So it was quite an ordeal.
When did you start realizing that, hey, I'm pretty good at this football thing? When did that come?
My sophomore year, we had a heck of a football team. My brother Huey was a senior, and guys like P.J. O'Quinn, Gary Claremont, and Winston Leday. I mean, these guys were terrific. We got beat in the well, back then you played one game in the playoffs, and then from there you played for the state championship. So that year, our sophomore year, we were 10-0, and we beat Reserve High School 6-0 during the season. And Reserve was a team that I don't know how it was then. We played them in the first round in the playoffs, and they beat us 6-0. And then they went to Morgan City and just demolished some people and won the state championship.
Right. Yeah.
And then our junior year, where we played in the state championship again against Neville High School in Houma at Terrebonne Stadium. You know, Theo Fake, who was then the principal at Thibodeau High School, wanted a little bit bigger stadium, and Coach Tatum didn't want to play in Houma.
Right.
But he kind of got talked in because of the money situation, you know. We had a chance to play in front of, 4,000 people?
Right.
Never had before, you know. So we did that, and we lost the state championship game. But we had the opportunity to win two, and we didn't win any, and that was tough.
You're also very competitive, too, especially people in Thibodeau. They don't like to lose, do they?
No, they don't. No, they don't. And, you know, back then it was Thibodeau College and Thibodeau High,
Right.
and we all got along very, very well. But it was always competition, you know. I mean, especially in baseball and in basketball and track.
Right.
They didn't play us in football, so. But they had good athletes, and they just didn't have enough of them. But they were good.
I had a gentleman on my show the other day, and I think I told you this. He was talking about his track career and talking about he ran a 10 flat on a cinder track. And I said, hold it. We got a guy, Don Schwab, and correct me if I'm wrong, either 9-9 or 10 flat. Was it a grass track?
It was a grass track.
That's incredible.
At Hanson Memorial.
And what was the speed?
10 flat.
10 flat. Mm-hmm. That's unbelievable.
Yeah.
How big were your spikes? About that big?
No, it was regular spikes. But it was a good track, you know. Back then, grass. That's what we had at Thibodeau High back then.
When you run a 10 flat on grass, is that when you think LSU started? I know you're a good fullback. You had a lot of yards and broke a lot of records. We'll talk about that. But was it the speed also that got LSU's attention?
I think so, Morton. In aggressive, you know, I was very aggressive. You know, wasn't scared to block anybody.
I would imagine a coach saw in Don Schwab the fact that he didn't have to tell you your assignment more than one time, and they knew once you got your assignment, you were going to give him 100%.
Right. We didn't. And my daddy wasn't into football. My mother wasn't into football, but they came to the games. But he never pushed us anyway. Mm-hmm. You know, he'd much rather see on that sugarcane field, you know,
Right.
than play sports. But he wouldn't tell us no, you know. Mm-hmm. Matter of fact, you know, when Jerry played high school football at Thibodeau High, they made very, very few games, you know, very few games. Then when Huey got involved, they started going more. And when I started playing, they never missed a game.
What are you most proud of in your athletic career?
Oh,
And I'm asking you to brag a little bit, which is very hard for you to do, so I'm giving you permission.
Well, I knew my sophomore year. My freshman year was just, 8th and 9th grade football. And it wasn't nearly as competitive as when you walked to the next level. Now, when Coach Tatum came my sophomore year, he was our new coach, super guy, changed the offense, and I knew and I felt as though that I could really, really contribute to be a pretty good football player. Only because of my upgiving. I mean, my daddy didn't know a thing about sports, like I told you, but some of the things that he did for me made me a better athlete, okay? I mean, he didn't care about basketball or football or track only, but the same ethics that I was taught, that we were taught on the farm, we took that over into the sports world. I loved playing. I really, really did. And I felt as though I had the ability to play on the next level after my junior year.
How many yards did you have? Yeah. What was the best yardage for a season?
Ruffin Rodrigue and I both rushed for over 1,000 yards my junior year, and Ruffin was a senior.
Right.
I rushed for 1,000 yards my sophomore year. And then my senior year, that's when I hurt my Achilles tendon.
Right.
I missed about 3 or 4 games, and
That's a tough injury, too,
yeah, it is.
for a running
it is.
back.
I was very fortunate. I didn't have surgery, and it wasn't bad enough. But,
Right.
I mean, it changed the whole complex.
Yeah. So, I mean, you were approaching 3,000 yards
Yeah,
for your
pretty
career
close.
at Thibodeau.
Pretty close.
That's pretty
close.
good.
Yeah. We ran the old wing T back then.
Was it Delaware wing tee?
Well, it was eventually called a Delaware wing tee. This was Tatum's wing tee. It's just
All you had to do was get 4 yards of carry.
that's it. We got that.
4 yards of carry.
Yeah, Huey was my sophomore year when Huey was a senior. He was team captain, and he played fullback, defensive tackle, and nose guard. He never got off the field.
Right.
But he was a heck of a man.
What were your brothers' influence on you? Were they tough on you? Did they
were
sort
tough.
of
Yeah.
beat you around and toughen you up a little bit?
Jerry, not as much, because we wouldn't. I didn't see Jerry play high school football till he was a senior. Because we didn't have the opportunity to go every Friday night.
Right.
And then when he graduated, he went into service, and then he went to Southeastern, and we watched almost all his home games at Southeastern. But that was it.
Yeah. But was there a little competitive spirit among the brothers?
Oh, it was always competitive.
Yeah.
We wound up fighting.
But that was a good fight.
Oh, Huey beat that guy to everybody. Huey was about 220 pounds and almost 6 foot tall, and he was much of a man.
Where did he get his height at?
He must have got it on the Pondville side and the Landry side, on Mama's side.
Yeah.
She had a brother that was about 6'10".
Who was coming to recruit you your senior year? Who showed up at Thibodeau or your house? Did they do that in those days?
Ray Didier.
Ray Didier.
Yeah. He was a baseball coach up there. And
Right.
he was the freshman football coach, and he saw my games, and then Dietzel came to a game.
Yeah.
My junior year, he came see us play in the playoffs, and because Ruffin and Milton Trosclad both signed with LSU
Right.
their senior year, and then Tommy Dunbar and I signed with LSU the following year. So, but matter of fact, when we played Neville in the state championship my junior year, when Ruffin's a senior, we wore LSU's jerseys for all the playoff games that year. Ruffin had Billy Cannon's jersey, and then we thought we was on top of the hill for good then.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, man, it was amazing.
That had to be an honor.
Oh, yeah.
Here's a guy from T. Shoepick who thought it was a big leap to go from LT Elementary to Thibodeau. Now all of a sudden, you're thinking about going from Thibodeau to a city in LSU.
Absolutely.
Did that scare you?
It scared me. It did scare me. Yeah, it's just, but it was a big adjustment for us, Martin. It really was.
And what was that first day
In those days, the freshmen couldn't play in the varsity, am I correct?
At LSU?
At LSU.
Yeah, you had to play on the freshman team.
Yeah,
And then you had an opportunity to be redshirted and still had 3 years to play.
Your first day of practice at LSU, what was going through your mind?
Don't make mistakes.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah, I know the level of coaching was entirely different than that we were used to.
Yeah.
But we were well prepared because of what Dick Tatum did for us, you know?
Right.
And you know, of course, all my coaches, Pat Zush, Coach Dupre, I mean, we had excellent coaches, Martin. I mean, they just drove us and do the best we could to the best of our ability, you know? Don't do anything more than what you think you can do.
Right.
You know, everybody thinks about, you know, you got to give 110%. See, I don't believe in that. I just think you need to give 100%, and then hopefully that 100% is going to be better than that your opponent is.
Right.
So
You got to outthink them.
yeah.
Time.
Yeah.
Everybody knew who Don Schwab was. That's got to be tough for a country kid to all of a sudden be in that kind of atmosphere. When them lights go on at Tiger Stadium, you're going, whoa.
It was quite a challenge to adjust to the situation at hand, Martin. I'm gonna tell you, it's just, you know, you're playing in front of 6,000 to 8,000 people every Saturday night, and I mean, just rowdy crowd, good people. Everybody got coat and ties, you know. And most people, that's how they went to school. You know, they went to the games back then. You know, the tickets were like $12 a piece.
Yeah.
You know, so I mean, it was nothing, but it was just a different look. But the possibility of me playing college football at first I wasn't really sure if I could play.
Ezel gives to Schwab at right guard. He gains 7 to the Syracuse 34, and the Tigers have another first down.
Who was the best athlete you played with at Thibodeau?
A guy by the name of Tommy Scrum Boudreaux.
Okay.
Yeah, he was a tremendous football player, tremendous baseball player, ran track. You know, but everybody did the same thing, Martin.
Right.
We all did all the sports as much as we could, you know.
Right.
I'd go from the baseball field to the track, you know.
Right.
I'll go from track to baseball. I think the best game I played at LSU was my sophomore year against Tulane, the year that President Kennedy got killed.
Right.
They moved the game from night to the afternoon. I don't know, I had like maybe 160 something yards rushing and scored a touchdown. But to go back, my sophomore year, when we played the University of Florida in Gainesville, Buddy Hammock got hurt the week before, and he was a fullback ahead of me.
Right.
Tore his knee, he was through for the year. That's gonna be my first starting game of my career to go to Florida. And my daddy was there with Eddie Pittman from Thibodeau. They were all having fun, and I was nervous. I was nervous as a cat, I'm telling you. I just kept shaking my head, man, rough, and all the guys would come around and said, "You're gonna be all right." So back in those days, you were on special teams, and I was on the first team kickoff return from game one.
Right.
Oh, and you know, during the week you practice, you know, the first 2 or 3 plays of the game, and I was running the ball the first play of the game. So on the opening kickoff, the ball comes to me, and I'm running down. I got to about the 25, and the guy stuck me right in the thigh.
Right.
I mean, he knocked it, and then I was hurt, but I would never let nobody know I was hurting,
Right.
especially Coach Mack. So man, and I go to the huddle, and I'm thinking now. I said, you know, screen's fixing to call my number on the first play, and I had to gut it out, man. I'll never forget that as long as I live. That it was just amazing that, you know, what your mind goes through thinking so fast. You know, I got to do this, I got to do that, and but I survived, and I scored both touchdowns, and we won the game 14-7 or 14-0.
Yeah.
We beat them in Gainesville, and I scored both touchdowns.
What about the bowl games you experienced?
Played in 3 bowl games. My sophomore year, we played in the Bluebonnet Bowl against Baylor. Junior year, we played Syracuse in the Sugar, and we beat them there. That's when they had Jim Nance and Ernie. Was it Ernie Davis?
That's a heck of a play.
Yeah. We beat them 13-10, I think. And in my senior year, we beat Arkansas in the Cotton Bowl.
Never giving yourself as much credit. I
Well,
told you this
it's-
story before. I'm in a taxi cab, and I want to say it's New York. Me, David Fake, Brian Mullers, and Harry McCullough. Imagine those four in a taxi cab.
I could
And
only imagine.
For some reason, the taxi cab driver was from Donaldsonville, and he played. I can't recall his name, but we started talking about football, and he asked, "You know a guy named Don Schwab?" We're all like, "Yeah, we know." He goes, "The guy was one heck of a fullback." So he must have played against you. We talked for a while, and I forget where he was. I think he told me he played for Donaldsonville or whatever. Did Donaldsonville have a team back then?
Oh, yeah.
So people remember you. First school you coached at was at Sandbarth?
Sandbarth High School.
Okay.
The boys' school.
Right.
Private school, boys' school. I left Sandbarth after 8 years, only because I'd be at Sandbarth today if it wouldn't be for this. He wanted to get in what they call the Lisa League, independent league. I said, and I went and talked to Sam. I said, Sam, I want to coach against the best athletes that we could possibly play against. And we held our own. It was a private school, boys only, from 5 years old to seniors. I mean, he's the one that started redshirting, kids if they had the right birthday.
Right.
We had more 19-year-old players than anybody. And I told him, I said, Sam, I want to coach against the best athletes we could possibly coach against.
What got you into coaching?
Coach Mack.
Okay. How did he influence you?
I wanted, Martin, I always thought I'd be a cane farmer, with my dad. He had about 500 acres of land. He only owned about maybe 150, and he was doing the other part for a guy from Morgan City. He ran everything, and I'll tell you this story is that my red shirt year at LSU, I got in a little trouble. Which was through my own fault, and I lost my scholarship. And that sugarcane season, I was in grinding with Daddy until the semester, so I could go back. Right. I knew then that I really wanted to play, and I had to, straighten up the ship, if you want to call it that,
right,
to do a better job off the field than I was doing at that time. Okay. And so, and then fortunately, I met Nancy DeFatta, which was another story of my life. But I knew then that I had to. I really wanted to do something else besides being a sugarcane farmer, because I was there every day,
right,
cutting that cane. Man, I worked my butt off.
Right.
I worked, and I said, no. I said I want to go back to school and get my education and play for LSU. And
So did you meet Nancy your freshman year?
I met Nancy my redshirt year.
Okay.
My redshirt year is the year I lost my scholarship.
So that's why you went back.
I went back because of Nancy.
I don't blame you. I don't blame you.
I had a pretty good choice, huh, Martin?
Yeah. No, that's a no choice. You going back. You not only had to win over Nancy, you had to win over the dad.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, her mother always liked me, Of course, I liked her a lot because she was a heck of a cook.
Wow, and I know Nancy sort of brought some of that with her.
Oh, Nancy's very good. Very good.
Yeah. So that brings you back, and then that got the ball rolling. Did y'all get married shortly after?
We got married in '64.
Coach Mack, I think, trying to remember who told me that one time they got in trouble and they had to run stadiums for a week. So was that part of conditioning, but also part of a punishment?
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah. And look, it was more than one guy in that punishment. Okay, I'm telling you.
Yeah.
He didn't put up with very much. If he felt as though you need to be in the stadium club, he put you in the stadium club.
The stadium club.
Yeah, stadium club. So what a club to be in, huh? Run up and down.
Now you're in the stadium club, you're doing pretty good.
Yeah. Got to have a little money to get up there now.
So LSU how did LSU change you?
It made me a better person, a better individual knew what direction I wanted to go into. To be the best football player that I could be, and to be able to coach on the level with the guys that I was coached by, including Dick Tatum and for a little while Paul Dietzel, and then Coach Mack. So that's what it taught me. I mean, it taught me how to live my life, what we had to do to be successful, and. Of course, the only reason I was very active in coaching, Martin, is because of Nancy. I mean, she back then and still today, you had to be, if you're married, you better have a wife that knows what you're gonna have to do to survive and to be successful in the profession that you've chosen.
Right.
And man, coaching is only one way, was from sun up till sundown. And in football and now off-season programs. I mean, so there's no rest. And thank God for Nancy, the father Schwab, because it was a big, big plus for me.
We all know it's not good after you lose a game.
Oh no, it's not. It's not.
But what would she do? You sort of even you out after?
She was very successful at just calming me down. Because I really didn't take my profession at home, Martin. I separated that.
But you've always been good at that. When you had HTV, we've had many talks, and one thing I'll always remember about Don Schwab: kill them with kindness.
Kindness. Oh yeah, we did.
You use that phrase quite a bit. So you were able to sort of leave it alone, even when I'd see you get riled up at a football game or whatever. When it was over, it was over.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
That's, I mean, once again, that's upbringing of my daddy,
Mm-hmm.
And in a way, he didn't even know what he was doing, but just what he did, and he wasn't very talkative, but when he talked, you listen.
What made that transformation coming back to bourgeois? Because I remember my brother was a senior, Mike, and I went to the game, and I think that was the first year.
My first year.
You had Kurt Shake Snyder as a wide receiver. You had Greg Bergeron as your quarterback.
We beat Vanderbilt at Vanderbilt.
It wasn't was it at Vanderbilt or at Terrebonne? It was at Vanderbilt. And it was on the last play of a game, and it was a close game.
Yeah, Kurt Shake Snyder made a great catch on the sideline.
Yes. Over my brother Mike.
That's right.
Mike, I'm sorry. I just had to say that. But Kurt's loving that right now. But what brought you to bourgeois?
My brother. And I was, when this is really going to be a nice little story. The whole situation at H.L. Bourgeois. Ralph Perry was then coaching at South Lafourche. We were best of friends. He was a senior my sophomore year at LSU. He was a starting left tackle for 3 years. And we got to know each other pretty good afterwards. When I was coaching in St. Barth, he was at South Lafourche, and we'd talk a lot on the phone about different things. And he showed me so much about and taught me so much over the phone that I could, people don't realize what I've had my hands capable of doing, being with a guy like that. Right. So I called Ralph Perry up when I was leaving. When I applied for the job from Central, I called him up. I said, Ralph, man, you got to give me some help here. I said, I'm thinking about, we got some people in Houma want me to apply for the H.L. Bourgeois job. Oh, he says, Schwab, he says, they can't win there. It's not going to be a good situation. I said, yeah, you sure? He said, yeah. He said, I don't think it's going to be good at all. So I took it for what it was. So I talked to Jerry, my brother, and Jerry wanted me to come. So, and I told him what happened. So listen, the very next day, I get a phone call from Ralph Perry. He says, Schwab, he says, I can't lie to you, man. He said, take that job. He said, it's going to be a good situation. I said, you sucker.
He didn't want to play against you.
He didn't want to play against.
Coach Schwab, thank you. Thank you for all the great things you did for so many men like myself, so many football players from South Louisiana that you affected our lives. What a great rivalry between you and Coach Perry, two great LSU Tigers going back to represent H.L. Bourgeois and South Lafourche in a great way. I'll never forget those games between H.L. Bourgeois. We knew we had to play our best to try to even compete against your football team. Thank you for being a friend all my life. Thank you for everything that you've done. God bless you.
At that time, Terrebonne was splitting talent
Right?
with Bourgeois.
That's it.
But you had Greg Bergeron,
Yeah.
who was a great quarterback.
Oh, unbelievable.
Kurt Shake-Snyder, great wideout, great athlete. You coached guys like Jesse Miles,
Yeah.
Mitch Andrews. Who am I missing?
Reginald Chapman,
Reggie
Leonard
Chapman.
Barra.
Yeah.
I mean, you know,
Wow.
Clinton Boudreaux, Dean Robichaud, Billy Brown,
Yeah.
John Abshire, David Bridges.
What was the worst thing a player could do that when they did it in a game and they had to walk to that sideline and they had to walk right past you that they could do?
I would say bust an assignment. You know, it's my philosophy, Martin, was that we had to play to our best of our ability without making mistakes. You know, and if you bust an assignment, it doesn't take talent to do that. It takes mentality.
Then you end up at Vanderbilt
Yeah,
and you get to coach your son.
that's it. That was fun.
How special was that?
That was fun. It was fun.
Yeah.
It was tough on one side, but it was a lot of fun, man. We had some good teams, you know, very competitive, you know. Of course, once again, we had good athletes, man. You're only as good as the guys that you coach.
You always had the ugliest uniforms. You'd wear the black shoes. Which was terrible.
We had the Penn State mentality.
Yeah, but y'all didn't always Penn State it up. But I think you sort of hedged in the latter part of your career.
Yeah, we kind of we put the names on the back of their jerseys. We kind of
But you always would tell me, it's not how flashy you look, it's what you do in that field.
That's right, exactly.
You always believed that, didn't you?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No doubt about it.
From your span of Sam Barth, well, you went to Nichols after.
I spent 2 years at Nichols with Sonny Jackson. Really enjoyed it. It was probably a little bit over my head.
Yeah, but y'all had a good team.
Well, we did. We had some good kids. I mean, once again, you got good kids. You're gonna be successful.
Dwight
You're gonna
Walker.
be competitive. Yeah, Dwight Walker, who's probably one of the better wide receivers you see ever. I mean,
Right.
you know. And you know, you had Doug Hudson. You know, Keith Menard, who's coaching the Central of Fush.
Right.
I mean,
Right.
and, you know, Scotty Hildebrand, Butch Dagg. You
Yeah.
know, Butch was there, and Oscar Smith. Man, we had some hellacious. Lionel Vital.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, we had some good athletes.
Played in the NFL too.
Yeah.
On LV.
Yeah, he did.
But so what did you bring from LSU and remembering how they coach you when you went coach on the college level?
It's to practice hard every day. That's the hardest thing I think for anybody to do, Martin. And even nowadays, that's the hardest thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
It's for them to concentrate fully, 100% on what you're supposed to do on the football field. Not what you're going to do in the algebra, or not what you're going to do in biology.
Right.
You got to have your thoughts in line, and that's hard for anybody to do. You know, especially a guy that's got a 4.0 average, and he's thinking about his American history test tomorrow morning.
Right.
Yeah, but he's got to go through 2 hours of practice and don't make mistakes. That's kind of hard.
You came work from 5 years, I think you were at HTV.
Yes,
right?
sir. Enjoyed every minute of it.
And you instilled a lot of knowledge over here, and it was nice sitting down and talking with you and gathering a lot of information. But then one day, you decide, I don't know where it came from, I want to be parish president. And you decide to run. And look, I got to tell you, I knew you would be good. I knew your conservative mentality. I knew all that, and I knew you would do the right thing. But I was shocked. I think you shocked a lot of people when you said, I'm running for parish president. There's a new face in the race for Terrebonne Parish President. Chances are he's coached one of your children. His name, Don Schwab, a family man, a former LSU football standout, a high school and college football coach, recreation director of Terrebonne Parish. Don also worked in the private sector as general manager of HTV and coastal engineering of Houma. Now he's ready to serve you. A new face, a new pace. Don Schwab, Terrebonne Parish President. And you made a decision and you did it.
Yeah. Well, I got a lot of phone calls, you know, and that was the furthest thing from my mind, Martin. But the more I look at the situation at Terrebonne Parish back then, is that I didn't like the direction we were going into. There's some things I wanted to change.
You've seen the signs. You've seen the walkers.
and the momentum is getting stronger.
Don is a new breath. He's a new face.
His leadership ability, I think, throughout his career has been unquestioned.
Don can run with the ball.
I think he will make a great president.
He's ready to work hard for the parish of Terrebonne and the good people in Terrebonne Parish.
If I wouldn't have a father, I would want him to be my own father.
We will give the parish back to the people of Terrebonne, okay? That's what we're going to do.
And the only way I could change it as an individual is to be parish president of Terrebonne Parish. So I got guys behind me, and we raised our money. I mean, you know, we didn't. We took. I don't know how much we wound up raising. It wasn't very much back then. It was like maybe $80,000 or $90,000, which back then was a lot of money.
Right.
A lot of money. Yeah. And that's all we wanted. You know, we got on the streets.
You've seen the signs, you've seen the walkers, and the momentum is getting stronger.
I can tell you this, what he says he's going to do, he's going to do.
He's been a great inspiration for me throughout my life.
He's a great organizer. He's a people person.
He's just no nonsense, and he'll get the job done.
He's a man for the people. He wants to help the citizens of Terrebonne Parish. He is who he is, and when he's focused on something, he does it.
We will give the parish back to the people of Terrebonne, okay? That's what we're going to do.
And once again, from tissue pick to running for parish president of Terrebonne Parish, which was the furthest thing from my mind when I came here in 1973 to coach at H.L. Bourgeois.
But just like when you walked in Tiger Stadium and you went, uh-oh.
Yeah, it's different.
Yeah,
it's
when
different.
You walk up and
it's different.
And you run in a parish.
Yeah, exactly.
Makes you think a little.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And plus the fact, you know, Barry Blackwell, who was, you know, my right-hand man, and my department heads, and they knew exactly where Don Schwab stood. I mean, it was no hiding anything. It was to the point. You know, I said, if you do something wrong, I'm gonna fire you. Mm-hmm. If you do something illegal, I'm gonna fire you. Right. I want everybody to understand that, you know.
But I'm not gonna be in your business every day.
Yeah.
You're not a micromanager.
No, I'm not. I told him that in our first meeting. Mm-hmm. I said, you go talk to Barry Blackwell. If you don't like what Barry Blackwell tells you, then you come see me.
I always base things on hurricanes around here. That's my timetable.
Yeah.
I said, when was, like, I'll be sitting there, what years was Don parish president again? And I go, Hurricane Katrina and Hurricane Rita.
Yep.
Don, we'll start with you. We've been talking to you quite a bit on the phone. The window of opportunity is starting to close down. We're starting to see some of the effects, but this thing still, I think this thing really now has people's attention.
I think they really have, Martin. I would say the evacuation process, we probably got about 60% in Terrebonne Parish, which is not as much as we probably wanted, but I think the closer the storm gets and they understand the severity of the storm, I think it'll be more of an impact. So hopefully we get them out of harm's way.
With two hurricanes you don't want to wish for, you get them coming.
Back to back.
And you made decisions to open the Civic Center up and different things. What was that like for you?
Oh, Lord, that was, once again, thank God that I was surrounded by such great people in my administration, Martin. They just took the ball and ran. I mean, you know, we only met one time, and I knew what direction we wanted to go into. We made some suggestions, and we did it. And, I mean, everything worked out fine, you know?
But I remember interviewing you at the Civic Center, and I mean, you had a pretty good command of the situation. You had to at that time.
Yeah.
Did your coaching mentality come back at that point?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. You know, I used to always say it. I'd go to bed at night thinking what mistake I made during the day. You know, it's just like football.
And
I go to bed sometimes and say what mistake I made today as a football coach.
And Nance would be there saying, "You did fine."
Yeah, that's all she would say. That's all she would say.
You did okay.
Yeah, that's all.
Yeah, and I'm sure that helped quite a bit.
Yeah, it did.
To do that.
Did coaching prepare you for what you're faced with now? You can't please everybody when you're coaching.
Right.
You can't please everybody when you're parish president.
Well, I'm gonna tell you what it did, Martin. And you know, it's when I first sat down with my family, when we first discussed that I was gonna maybe, you know, it was even thinking about running for parish president. I think we learned a lot. I did. My family learned a lot. You have to have thick skin. when you're married to a coach or your father is a coach. I mean, because the people in the stands, as you well know, till these days, they're still talking about coaches on the sideline. and I feel as though that it really prepared me for being parish president, because when you're on the political front and you working for so many people, you better have thick skin, because people are going to talk about you, because not everybody's going to vote for you, not everybody's going to like you. We're just going to do the best that we can.
You also worked for another friend, O'Neill Marlborough.
Yes.
What did you take from that?
Oh, look, I tell you what, I learned what hard work was. O'Neill Marlborough is a workaholic. I mean, he works from sunup till way past sundown, believe me. He's just, and he's a personal friend of mine, and he helped me out a lot in the situation that I was in at that time. But I learned about hard work from Neil. I'm gonna tell you, and he enjoys life. You know that. Y'all have had some together sometimes singing, and he loves life. I mean, he's a very, very happy person, but he's also a good friend.
Parish President Don Schwab. And Don, what does a project like this do for Terrebonne Parish?
Well, first of all, Mike, we have to congratulate the Ducks Unlimited organization and everybody that's involved in this project. But it gives an opportunity for other people in the parish to maybe get some duck hunting in and or fishing in, whatever they'd like, in another area of the parish. And I mean, I think it's a great addition.
Looking back at all of your achievements and all of your life, you've had a pretty diverse, for a guy who grew up in T. Shoepick, who went back and thought he wanted to be a cane farmer, and nothing against cane farmers. I got a lot of cane farmers in my family, a lot of farmers, but you've had a pretty diverse life.
Now, of course, if you don't know who Don Schwab is, we don't either. He just came walking up and he said he knew how to barbecue. Say, yeah, Schwab, what'd you come barbecue for? No, actually, we've been knowing him for a long, long time. I'm serious, we call him a legend sometimes. Of course, we don't mean that.
He is the legend. He is.
Whoa, dude.
Here to tell us about those players and how they were chosen are Don the Legend Schwab, Troy the Gazelle Johnson, and Gene Eagle Eye Gano.
I tell you what I want to do right now before we go any further. I would like all the football players that are here tonight stand up. Just the football players. Just the football players, stand up. Now I want you to give a hand of applause to your parents and the coaches, okay? Give them a hand. Thank y'all very much, because you guys could get applauded all night. Sometimes the parents and the coaches, we forget about them.
They don't know. The Hurricane Center in Miami would like to know the answers to it, and then they're going to try to find out as soon as they can.
How important is it to have that home playoff game?
Very important. Very, very important. It makes the kids realize that they've accomplished something. We have an opportunity to play a game here in either Vanderbilt or E.D. White, whoever gets it, but it's very important.
We'll bring in Martin, and of course Don Schwab. Everyone knows Don around here, and Martin. Now Martin, you need to kind of look at this and give us an eye. Isn't this wonderful? Huh? Step on up here and take a look at this.
Take a look. How about a bite?
A look doesn't count, Don.
Come on, cut enough for me and Don right now.
Lewis wants to look.
Cut that timber wall. Okay, but now wait. Yeah, one second. You see this knife? You have to turn it so that the cutting edge goes down to the meat. Okay, that's all right.
Okay, welcome back to Terrier Field at halftime with the score South Terrebonne Gators 13, Vanderbilt Terriers 7. With me, my pleasure to have Calvin Buxton, head baseball coach, ninth grade football coach. Coach, how you doing?
Doing great. I feel privileged being in here with all these big knockers from.
We see the jambalaya we have from Bobby.
Yes, I do.
From Bobby Carlos and Neil Marlborough and Peter Lambert, and Martin hadn't stopped eating yet.
Vanderbilt High School has great softball teams and great coaches. Well, this year, Don Schwab is the softball coach at Vanderbilt High.
Welcome back. There you see the HTV radio phone game of the week, or as the sign says, radio HTV.
And that is Hillary Domain.
And that's our new official game of the week shirts right here.
Yes.
Triple X for Gene Gano, double X for me.
Yes.
Lonnie.
Triple X.
Lonnie, is that a small?
Well, extra small.
Okay.
I've made some mistakes. I won't, not scared to admit to it. I think everybody makes mistakes, but some people don't want to admit to making a mistake. I'll tell you when I make a mistake. I'm not bashful.
Yeah, your freshman year at LSU, you were going back home for a little while.
Exactly.
But
and I didn't want to stay.
You decided it wasn't gonna. ruin your life.
That wasn't going to be me, you know.
Yeah.
That
A lot of
wasn't gonna
people,
be- it wasn't going to be me.
You make a decision. You go down
Yeah.
this path or
Yeah.
that path, and you chose it.
Well, my LSU days, Martin, was second to none. I mean, the whole deal. I mean, you know, from start to finish. I have nothing but praise, man. You know, I thought I was pretty successful on the field. I always did my best. You know, I accomplished a lot. You know, a lot of things that I've done over the years that was very, very pleasing to me. That many people know, but you know, I was the leading rusher in a Southeastern Conference. How many people can say that? You know? Not many people. Only 5 from LSU in the history of LSU football. And you know, a lot of people don't know that, and it didn't bother me. You know, it didn't. But you know,
But it is.
but it's when you're only one of 5 people in the history of LSU football to lead the SEC in rushing. I think that's a pretty good deal.
Oh, yeah, that's very good. When we used to do the games, and you would come on for Saints on the Bayou, and Hokie sitting right next to you, and I had pictures looking back over the years to see that. And you played in golf tournaments with Jimmy Taylor, and you've had just a magnitude of talent on LSU's team. And so there's Hokie, and there's Jimmy Taylor, and there's Don Schwab. And you chose a little more quiet avenue than some of them, which probably leaves you out when people talk about it, but you're in the same sentence with those people. Do you pinch yourself sometimes?
I really do. I really do. You know, you know, when you sit back and you're laying in bed, Martin, and you start thinking of what could have been and what should have been, I do that. I do that. You know, not a lot, but I still do it. You know, think about what you always try to. I think if you don't second guess yourself, you lying to me. You know, a lot of people second guess themselves.
Right.
But sometimes it pays off to second guess yourself. Not every time.
Right.
But I mean, you know, you try to apply what just happened to reality, and you know, it's a lot of confusion in there, man.
We did many game of the weeks, and what kind of fun was that to be doing game of the weeks and state championships back in the day when we could tape them where they didn't take it over themselves, but. We got to see a lot of good athletes come.
Oh, absolutely, man. You know, my days with Lonnie Thibodeau and you and
Eric Ritchie.
And we had fun, man, and I thought we did a decent job, you know.
Yeah.
Well, I know I tried to do the best I could, but you know, Troy Johnson helped us out a lot, and we had fun. I mean, that's what it was. And I think the people really, really enjoyed it, man. I got so many compliments, you know, thank y'all for doing this. I say, you thank Martin Falls. You don't need to thank me, you know.
So, and then I would thank guys like Phil Doness.
Yeah.
Who, you know, God bless his soul, but when Radiophone was here, before corporations started taking over Houma, we had people that would do that. Hey, that was a big step for companies like that. But what a treasure for some of those kids that had their games televised.
You're right.
The entire game.
Yeah, exactly.
We saw some whale of a game.
Oh.
Was it you that got stuck in the elevator at the Superdome?
No, Lonnie got stuck in the elevator. That's when Gene Gino and I was doing the game.
Right.
We had to kind of take over.
Right.
You were
going to be on it anyway.
Yeah, I was going to be there.
And Gene was just doing the spot.
Yeah.
And then Lonnie got stuck in the elevator.
Lonnie got stuck in the elevator.
So I remember hearing, I think I was in the truck and I'm going, where's Lonnie at? I think then a break you told me, he's in the elevator. Anything you would change?
Anything I would change? No.
Especially Nancy. I know that's
No, I definitely wouldn't change that. No, I definitely wouldn't change that. No, I've been blessed, Martin. I really have.
Good family to go with.
Good family, you know, Michelle and Christy, and Michelle and Randy, and Christy and Sal, and Donna Paul and Gina, and 7 grandkids that are adoring, and I think they like me. You know?
I know they like it. I know they love you.
But it's been a good ride, Martin. There's nothing wrong with my life, man. I tell you what, I've enjoyed it to the fullest.
This for a guy from Little Shoe Pig, a bulldog physique. But if you had to pick a flower What kind of flower? You knew I had to throw a curve in this.
That's easy, man.
What kind of flower would you be?
That's an easy one, man. A rose. Nancy Rose.
You
Rose
scoring major points.
Rose the Fatter, her mother, man. That's what I think of.
Who's your favorite president of all time?
I say Dwight Eisenhower and John F. Kennedy.
Okay. Who's your favorite football player of all? If you had to pick pro or college, that one person that shines.
I'd say Joe LaBruza.
Yeah. He was a heck of an athlete.
Joe was just, he was in a class by himself.
Billy Zell, the quarterback, rolls out to the left. Looks for LaBruzo, throws, good for 10 yards, and the first down on the LSU 49. Smith makes a tackle. At this point, LSU decides to go for the two-point play. Billy Zell's pass to Joe LaBruzo is complete for the two-point conversion.
His desire to be the best, and he was 165 pounds.
Right.
Could run like lightning.
Yeah.
Great guy. Great friend. I'd say Joe.
Okay. Your favorite song of all time?
Blueberry Hill.
I found my thrill on Blueberry Hill.
My favorite movies would be Clint Eastwood.
Really? Okay. You're a big Clint Eastwood fan.
Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead.
Different things.
My day.
Yeah. Different things that he did, from Cowboyville to, the investigator and.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're, I thought you liked country music.
Oh, I love country music.
Yeah. But Fats Domino still trumps everything.
Oh, absolutely. No doubt about it.
All right.
No doubt about it.
If I got Jerry in a room and I got all your friends in a room and you got a vast amount of friends, so I'm not even going to start naming them. We all know who they are. And I was able to get Barry Blackwell back and sit everybody in a room, especially Nancy. I sat Nancy down and I said, all right, there's got to be one word that you would use to describe Don Schwab. What would you hope the one word would be?
I'd say sincere.
I'm going to interject one for you.
I'd say sincere.
Because you worked here for 5 years, and I've been knowing you for a long, long time. Loyal.
Well, that was the next word I would think of would be loyalty.
And it's probably better coming from a friend than it is from you. But I think everyone watching would say when Don Schwab's on your team and he's your friend, he's loyal to that.
Well, that's true.
And I want to thank you for that. That's a good quality to have. There's no doubt about it. You're in the trenches with people.
Well, I hope I influence many people's lives, Martin. Every day of my life, when I lay my head on my pillow, I do it with a clear conscience. I mean, say my prayers and I think about things, but it's very calm, very calm.
Thank you for joining us. We probably could have talked for 2 or 3 hours.
Well, I thank you for having me, and you've been a tremendous aid, part of this country. This community for so long, and I say from the bottom of my heart, you're one of a kind.
One of a kind. Thank you, Don. Feelings mutual. Thank you, Don. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
you're more sensitive than you lead on sometimes.
Oh, yes.
You all hard, aren't you?
Oh, yes. I got a soft heart.
You're really passionate
Yeah.
about things that are going on. Is that what really makes you tick?
It does. I was very close to my football players. Of course, I'm very close to my family. And I've got a soft heart, you know, but it can be hard at times, but I have a soft heart.
We'll have another one-on-one here on Facebook and YouTube when he was parish president of Terrebonne Parish. We'll also show you other events and banquets that Don was honored at. You can search Facebook for Don Schwab, and I'm sure it will pop up. For the entire crew at HTV, we remember Don Schwab.